I reported on this earlier tonight, but for those of you all who might be unaware, there was recently a holiday drone show in Orlando, Florida. Now, personally, with everything that is going on with drones right now, the last place I want to be is at a drone show. But it turns out that these little holiday drone light shows are very popular these days. Basically, they use a fleet or a swarm of drones to create little images in the sky. For example, they were creating images of Christmas trees and Frosty the Snowman. Well, during this show, there was a large crowd gathered, and for whatever reason, the drones started malfunctioning, falling out of the sky, zipping right past people's heads. The crowd started panicking. Everyone started running in every different direction. And during the chaos, one of these drones hit a 7-year-old boy right in the chest. Now, the kid had to be rushed to the hospital and immediately had to undergo open heart surgery. That's how bad this is. The kid's in critical condition as we speak. Pray for him. And I mean, if you look at the footage from this situation, it's very chaotic. Now, there's an investigation underway to figure out what went wrong with the drones. The story that they're going with right now is that some of these drones collided and they started falling. Now listen, when you got hundreds of drones or thousands of drones all flying close together, it's not hard to believe that something like that could happen. But if you look at the footage and you watch closely, and I've looked at the footage, I've watched it 30 times now, some of the drones do appear like they just start falling out of the sky. You know, kind of like raindrops. They're just falling out of the sky. But other drones literally look like they just, I don't want to say intentionally, but it looks like they just dart right at the crowd. Like some drones are falling straight down, as they kind of should. If they collide in the sky, they would fall down, you think. But some are like going at an angle, just zooming like a high-speed projectile right towards the crowd. So I do have questions as to what exactly went wrong here. And I get it, maybe there's a collision in the sky, and as some of these things are falling, they're falling at different angles, and maybe they're trying to fly again, and maybe that, I don't know. You know what I mean? But some of these drones just really looked kind of weird to me, you know, because some are falling out of the sky and others are just right at people. So it was a very scary situation. But I want to go ahead and roll this news clip. Let's find out a little bit more about what transpired, and then I'll be right back with more.
Right after that breaking news, drones literally falling right out of the sky tonight during a holiday light show at Lake Eola. This happened during the 6:30 p.m. show, and after that, the city canceled their 8 p.m. viewing. West News' Tony Atkins is joining us live from downtown tonight. Tony, the FAA says they're getting involved. What's the latest?
Well, the city just confirmed that the FAA is trying to figure out what exactly happened with these drones. But imagine being right here in this very spot here on Lake Eola and those drones. This is the area where you can see in the video those drones came crashing down. Now, I want to show you here because when we made it, we saw there was some crime scene tape up here as police sectioned this off because there was literally a drone right here that fell from the sky. So some very scary moments. I want to get to that video and show you exactly what we saw earlier tonight, those drones falling from the sky. And we did reach out to the city to see if there were any injuries. Orlando Fire said one person was taken to a hospital with minor injuries, but it's unclear at this point, based on what we're getting from the city, it's unclear to determine if that injury is related to those falling drones. Again, when we made it here, we saw the drones on the ground, including one being placed in an evidence bag. We talked to a number of people out here, hundreds of people here at Lake Eola to take in those lights. Many of them came to see that holiday drone show. Many of them disappointed, but trying to make the most of a situation here.
We heard about the drone show, but it obviously got canceled. But, you know, we're having a good time regardless. Here at the kids, I have my wife and my other daughter over there somewhere. You know, we're having a good time regardless.
Yeah, making the most of it.
Making the most of it.
And when we were out here, we did see a number of police officers, detectives in this very spot trying to piece together what exactly happened with the drones in the sky there. Over that way, there was a trailer. You can see folks from the drone company taking their equipment, packing it up. They left about an hour ago. Before they left, we did have a chance to speak with someone who said they were a vice president with the company. They send their sympathies to the families, and right now they're trying to figure out exactly what happened with those drones there in the sky.
Tonight, we are now learning it was a 7-year-old boy who was hit by a drone and rushed to the hospital. We have team coverage tonight. We're
going to hear what the massive drone company responsible for this show has to say. But first, the mom of that little boy speaks out, telling West 2's Spencer Tracy he had to undergo open heart surgery.
A night of holiday lights turned into a scare in the sky.
No, I don't think they're supposed to be falling.
That is video showing the drones falling over Lake Eola Park during an Orlando holiday show on Saturday night. Orlando Fire says one person was injured during the event and sent to the hospital. One mother tells us she was here sitting with her family on this brick wall during the drone show when she says a drone came falling from the sky and the unimaginable happened. She says it hit her son.
Everyone's natural instinct was to duck and scatter. And right when we knew it, my daughter found my son on the floor, unconscious, blood coming out his face.
Adriana Edgerton says her 7-year-old son, Alexander, has been in the hospital ever since.
It ended in nightmares and just feel so bad. It's 3 days before Christmas.
A spokesperson from the FAA says several of the small drones collided and fell into the crowd at 6:45 p.m. Initially, there were supposed to be 2 performances, one at 6:30 and another at 8 p.m., but the second show was canceled because of the incident. Our crew saw the drones on the ground, and one was placed in an evidence bag. Edgerton says more safety precautions need to be put in place, especially for big events with so many people.
This should not happen. No family should be going through this off of, trying to watch a show and have a good time.
I'm honestly surprised that stuff like this doesn't happen more often, because these drone shows are getting very popular. But then again, am I really that surprised? Because there is weird timing here. As these other mysterious drones dominate the headlines all of a sudden, right now, out of all times, we got drones falling out of the sky hitting people at Christmas shows. So it is kind of weird. But, it's also kind of ironic that this is happening at the same time that our government is telling us that the mysterious drones flying in New Jersey and various other states and hovering over military bases and stuff like that, they're telling us those drones pose no threat. Yet the innocent little drones at the Christmas show in Orlando pose a threat. One kid could have died and still, he's clinging on to life. He's lucky to be alive right now after being hit by a small drone. We got drones the size of a special ed school bus flying in the sky in New Jersey, okay? And imagine if one of those things falls on a crowd, or falls on a shopping center, or falls on a house. So they can't sit here and tell us that drones pose no threat, right? So, because I think this is a perfect example of how, on an even smaller scale, having these things flying in the sky everywhere can cause problems. And it can pose a risk to the public, right? But also, the conspiracy theorist in me, or whatever you want to call it, I'm looking at this, just looking at the timing, and I'm kind of wondering, because, it's obvious that these things pose a threat, you're right? That's kind of obvious. But I'm also kind of wondering, is this something that kind of purposely happened to further an agenda? Is this somehow tied to all of the other drone situations that are going on? And is all of this being used together to push an agenda? I can't help but question that. Because, I guess coincidences do happen, but this is one hell of a coincidence that in the middle of like this big drone story about these invasions of drones everywhere, that all of a sudden we got crazy malfunctioned, drones hitting people at Christmas parties and Christmas shows. I don't know. I just find it weird. And even if the two have nothing to do with each other, it's like, I think we got to ask the question. You know what I mean? Like maybe the dots don't connect, but we at least got to try and see if they do. I don't think this is something that we should just automatically dismiss like, okay, this can't have anything to do with each other at all. Because if there is some sort of psyop going on with these drones, if our government is involved in whatever the plot is behind these drones, then this very well could be connected. And this may have happened to cause even more outrage. So we're looking towards the government for even more answers. And those answers will be more regulations. And who knows what else they will pack in a bill that they'll get ready, to pass. These people just don't put anything past them. I'll just say that. But for now, yeah, a very scary situation. I hope the kid is okay. If I was the mother, I would be looking into how I could sue the pants off of everyone. Because do not invite me to one of these things if they're going to be flying out of the sky at me like little mini missiles. Because that's what happened here. And you can look at the footage yourself. And, you could say, hey, maybe they just collided. Maybe it's all an accident, which it probably was. I'm just saying it looks kind of weird. And the timing of it is very sus. But you can feel free to disagree or agree down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.